Hello, everyone. We are here to compare and contrast two approaches to writing the rhetorical analysis essay. So let's take a moment just to look at this quick snapshot. So in writing the rhetorical analysis essay, we really have two choices. The first we'll call the top to bottom approach. The advantages to this are threefold, in my view. The first, it produces a more organic prose style, meaning that students are acting as the sports color commentator, analyzing how the writer, or the athlete in this case, achieved that touchdown or that three-point shot. We notice a much more creative interplay among rhetorical choices. And last but not least, students are taught to read rhetorically. And what I mean by that is that when we read, we're paying attention to how the writer is finding available choices all the way through in order to manipulate an audience to understand X or Y. Some of the cons towards this approach: number one, it does take more time to not only write, but also to master over the course of a school year or several years. Also, there's a potential difficulty in monitoring shifts, particularly if a student, let's say, gets bogged down at the 50% point of the text, and we're missing some of the changes as the text progresses. Also, there's what I call the then goes on to say trap, where that's a marker where the student is really not being that color commentator in sports, but rather the play-by-play. Oh, look, here's the writer doing this, here's the writer doing that, without alignment to an overall focus. The College Board gives us many, many examples of good essays that are organized by strategy, both with the SAT and rhetorical analysis, and also the AP prompts, or the AP models. Some of the pros approaching it this way: number one, you do ensure understanding or seeing more of those shifts because you're obliged to look at how, for example, a writer's tone evolves over the course of a text. Number two, you can then get to the end. You can cover the entire text, and in so doing, monitor those choices or that shift. And last but not least, it just takes less time to produce, particularly in a time setting. One of the cons, an old colleague from the AP reading shared, is that it creates more predatory reading, meaning that you're sort of artificially looking at just one rhetorical choice and ignoring maybe other important things. It does create a more perfunctory writing style, meaning that we're working hard to give those formulaic moves in our claims or subclaims, those formulaic moves introducing rhetorical choices that will be commented on later in the paragraph. And last but not least, such an approach is potentially repetitive. So if I'm making some observations about, let's say, the writer's tone in the first paragraph, and then later in my own essay, I'm writing about, let's say, the writer's diction in that first paragraph, how am I going to avoid repeating in almost a refrain-like manner whatever that subclaim is? More established thinkers and writers will, even at this point, look at how the rhetorical choices work in sync or in tandem to create that subclaim, or perhaps to comment on how the audience is impacted. So that is an overview of two approaches towards writing the rhetorical analysis essay. Okay.